telling me? And he was like, I'm kind of telling you because there's nothing you can do because I'm about to hop on a plane. Click. What? And I don't even remember how I got to my sister's house, but I remember calling the police, and that's when the police told me there was nothing that they can do because there were no legal paper, no documentations on file stating that he was not, he could not take him out of the state lines or anything like that. So it wasn't kidnapping. I got to my sister's house. My sister opened the door, and I literally like collapsed in her arms. And I'm in an emotional wreck. And my sister was like, what is wrong? And I was like, he took him. And she was like, who took who? What are you talking about?
Welcome to the Love Is Podcast with your host, that thorny chick, Karen KK Rose, and her co-host, the lovable a-hole, that's right, I said lovable, Mr. DK Walker, where they will be discussing love, relationships, family, life, sex, self-help, and what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Why? Because love is everything, and everything should be loved. Now to today's podcast.
And you was the same heifer that was crying when Obama got elected. That was you. Like,
that was me. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Know.
I sure did.
I promise you. Like, you pull that string on within us black people. Pull that string. So it's like, and y'all be feeling so inclusive, right? Like, that's the crazy part. Yeah, I didn't stutter. I say something wrong. You should, y'all like.
Listen, we've addressed my feelings about that. The thing was, I have two parents who are immigrants who immigrated to the United States. My parents were selling us the American dream that you could be anything you wanted to be. Yeah, that's great and fine. But when you realize that the system is set up against you, and when they got here, you know, the only thing that you could be was a nurse, a custodian, sell insurance, or Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. And instead, my mother was able to be a housewife, do patient care, own a cleaning business. My dad has about 5 businesses. Owns a $500,000 home. Listen, we've come a far way. So when we saw Barack Obama become the president, it was true that what my parents said was true, that yes, you can be anything you want to be, even if the system is set up against you. So when he became the president, there was a proud moment.
Right.
So she cried in celebratoriness. So why are we
like half of America.
Yeah, fucking puppets. Anyway, I didn't stutter. I ain't biting.
Spoken like a true DCer.
No, it's not a true DC. Like think about it though, right? Anytime that the masses anytime that the powers that be need to move the brown and black masses, they position certain things, and I know what I sound like, right? But they position certain people and things, and then we're gonna pull these, and then you're gonna jump because you don't even realize, how you've been positioned and the way you've been indoctrinated. You don't even realize that, right? But like, I'm not saying pro or against. That's not my thing. I'm not, I understand that like politics works on a grassroots level, right? Before we even get up to the presidential. But people that's not in the know, they get excited off the presidential level, not knowing that the doggone work has to be done with your local politicians, right? Right. And like we said on previous podcasts before, and I'm going to pose this question to you, because once again, they make you think it's about race. They make you think, and y'all get so gung ho. Just come, everybody think about it, right? And I said this on the previous joint. People started robbing their grandmother for their pearls, and went and bought as many pairs of motherfucking Chuck Taylors as possible when we got doggone, Miss Harris, the Vice President Harris, supposed to respect her name, in office, right? I'm like, okay, cool. But once again, we knew we had the black vote as long as we had somebody black in there. So we didn't have to go make no promise. We had to go do nothing. We just put a face on this right here and make it a woman face so y'all can feel empowered. And then y'all gonna go do what y'all normally go and do. So I asked people this one question, then we're gonna get off of this, right? If you had a white counterpart to, the president, vice president, because we know he's white, she's black, or she's mixed, whatever the case may be, and you had a white counterpart when he's white and white, but they was guaranteeing you they was going to do 100 times better than what we currently have. Black people will still go vote for the current ticket that won based off her race. Irregardless of these white people, and I'm not, and what I'm trying to get people to understand, it has nothing to do about race, but people are so doggone mind fucked. As soon as they see something, they feel I'm obligated to do something, irregardless of the outcome.
If somebody does not take their voter privileges and rights seriously, that's their business. Listen, am I fully aware of what I voted for, when I voted for, and if I had questions that I asked? Absolutely. But that is personal responsibility. You have to know what the issues are. You have to know what you're voting yes for. You have to know what you're voting no for. You have to know what the tax levy is, and you have to know why it's important for, your taxes to be increased for the schools, or why they need to be decreased, or why the library needs your money, and why the roads need it, and why the city need the money.
Right.
So I vote on every level. So when we got to where we are, when we get to presidential, I know what I'm doing. But again, everybody's not as informed.
Yeah, my fucking point exactly.
And why didn't you say that?
I'm just saying, you went down to the whole, I don't know if that's what you really do or you Googled it. That's even not my concern, but I'm talking as far as the masses, right? I'm just talking.
You can't take the phone with you. I mean, you can take the phone with you, but you can't use it while you at the poll.
I mean,
just talking about, come on.
I mean, you can, but you can't.
Right.
I mean, it depends on.
You better have it. We're right. You better tell Siri through your earpods.
Actually, what I was talking about, Karen, like when you read all those facts, you could have had your phone in your hand, Google them, right? To sound like you did the right thing. Like that's what I was alluding to, but it's okay. It's all right. I got you. And if you did, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you did, right? I'm talking about the masses that didn't. I'm talking about the masses that, once again, you put race.
I understand.
Right. And exactly. So once again, I didn't cry when Obama got, like, for what? He's a man. Like people act like he was Jesus Christ. He's not. He's not the second coming. Biden, he's not the second coming. Vice president, she's not the second coming. But black people act like all these people are the fucking second coming. I want to tell my people, like, man, could y'all wake the fuck up?
Listen, Daddy Joe sending them money, so they really gonna feel some kind of way right now.
Facts. I mean, I think listen, ultimately,
if he bought the vote, he really paying for it now, ain't he?
Right. I think it's different because when you have little kids and little, as a black girl or whatever, I didn't ever think that I didn't ever think that I was going to see somebody that looked like me in the president or in the White House. So absolutely. As a little boy, I have a 22, he's about to be 22. I have a 22-year-old son who knows that, okay, if he ever wanted to be the president of the United States, he has someone that can say, oh, well, he did it, so I can't. So I can see where the emotional tag comes from as far as crying and this is that and the other. I also see your point. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're God or, that we should be all, oh my God, that this is this and that and the other. But it also means that it's history that's being written. Because when you think back, we were never supposed to even vote.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll say this, and what you said was a buck. We're not going to go point. What you said was, so I'm not going, you're right. A lot of things we weren't supposed to do, but what you have to keep in mind about, and I'm not anti anything, I'm just factual. Y'all can go Google whatever I'm saying if y'all believe, if y'all want to dispute it. I'm not talking to my guests and my co-host. And of course, we're going to start a podcast and we're going to properly introduce our guests. I'm getting there.
Finish your rant.
But what I am saying is this: there's a lot of things that we wasn't supposed to do, but you got to keep in mind it's harder for America to be a dictatorship to any country telling them what to do when their house is not in order. So they had to start to act civilized, act like there was a unified front for the world to see, right? And it's easier for them to like, okay, democracy works because it working in America. But once again, that's the picture that's painted out behind the scenes. We know that democracy, my ass, like, we still have, inequality. We still have, injustice at an all-time high. But for the world to see before social media, pulled the curtain, gave people a peek, right? Yeah, but what you said is a buck, you know what I mean? So, but we're always going to, I guess, agree for the most part. We're going to differ, in other areas. But I just want my people as a whole, right? And I know the election has long since passed, right? And my co-host is right, because I'm not going to front like that 1400. I was asleep yesterday, right? True story, just happened yesterday. I would sleep on the couch because I was tired as motherfucker, not a motherfucker. I was tired as motherfucker. I was gone. And I know it was a good sleep because usually I sleep light. Like anything moving around me because I'm paranoid. I think my wife want to kill me, but that's another story. Look, so it's real talk. We'll talk about it later. Look,
you're going to get the life insurance. Trust me.
I mean, shit, she should. As long as she take care of my daughter, she good. But look, so I'm on the couch out to the world and I feel this on my shoulder. And I feel it, but I'm not moving. And then since I'm not moving, it gets harder. And then when I finally do recognize what it is, I jump damn near off the fucking couch. And she got a phone in front of her. She was like, cause she don't like, she don't even pay none of this stuff no attention. She just had, the money in her account. And she's like, you know what this is? That just hit my account. And I told her what it was, right? And so yeah, Joe Biden came through. Like he signed the joint Thursday, you know what I mean, which was the 11th, and then people got paid immediately that Friday. So you're right. So black people right about now, as we're recording this on the 13th on my mom's birthday, shout out, happy birthday, mom. People are going to lose their minds. Like the stores is packed. Nail salons is packed.
Facts.
Barbershop is packed. Amazon boxes is being shipped right as we speak.
Leave the Amazoners. The Amazon primers.
Joe Biden, if Joe Biden ain't done nothing else, he played it specifically. He like, I said I was going to do this, and then here y'all go. So
listen, he making sure the money going back into the economy for sure. Because that's everybody. Yeah. That's what everybody's doing. They just out here spending, and so
I've never seen so many motherfucking TV boxes. Like, how is it that you behind on your motherfucking rent, but I see so many TV boxes? I'm not understanding why.
Y'all got matching outfits, matching J's. Somebody got rims. Somebody got a sound system. Somebody went and bought the grocery store on the seafood section out. Oh,
who did they ever? I went to John's. I'm like, oh my god, what they got a special? Like they in line for the crab legs. Like, what the hell is going on at the John's?
But then too, you got to think it's the first of the month too. So I mean, it all got hit at the same time.
Jeez, and people got paid on Friday because I got paid
right
for working on Friday.
So you got first of the month, and then we going into the 15th where the Social Security checks. So the first of the month, Social Security check,
money is running rampant.
Listen, tax returns,
right,
and now
right,
right,
yeah.
Everybody's spending until it's gone, and then in a month or two, y'all gonna
be like, oh my god,
I'm
broke. What am I gonna do?
Because you spent your money improperly.
Right. So I'll say this for people that's listening to this, right? And hopefully, like, I'm not talking specific to the people that really need to hear this, right? But don't forget, like, they're going to lift the court orders as far as, the rent. The rent that you haven't paid that you owe is still owed, people.
No, man.
Oh, shit.
Damn,
that's my phone. Hold on for it. I should have cut
there
this
go
off.
Riley. Listen, cash at me, because see, Demetria, this is when you know somebody ain't raised in church. They got their phone out.
I hate to hang up on her.
Got to pay the fine. Got to pay the fine.
Anyway, yeah, this it is what it is, man. Something I'm gonna say, but actually, that was my mom calling me. I hung up on her. I called her back. I'm gonna cut my phone off.
You hung up on Mama?
Yeah, I hung up on Mama. I wasn't gonna take the call on air.
The disrespect.
If you don't act right, I hang up on you. What the hell?
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Got it. Do it if you want to. Go on and do it.
I hang up on my mama. I was like, I hang up on all you don't gonna have us anyway.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
With that being said, I will call her back after the podcast. I will let her know today is her birthday, so she's probably calling me, wondering why I haven't called her yet. So with that being said, you want to get into the proper introduction. And first of all, before you do that, Demetria, thank you for indulging me on, my DK rant. That had nothing to do with nothing except the fact that I can breathe and talk.
You're welcome.
It was the delay for me. Like she was so trying to get like a really nice answer. And then she's like, you know what? F it. I'm just going to say, you welcome. Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Thorny Chic, Karen KK Rose, alongside my co-host, the Lovable Asshole, DK Walker, whom you have already heard for the first 12 minutes of this podcast, alongside our guest, Miss Demetria Moore. So everybody say hello.
Hello.
Everybody say hello.
Oh, listen to you listening to directions for once. It's not going to last too long, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. I'll rebel from this point forward. I will rebel from this point forward.
Lord. Well, I would normally, bring my usual ratchetness to balance out DK's craziness, but we gonna skip What the Fuck News and the Bald-Headed Ho Shit Award, as we've already seemed to jump into the shits and giggles. As far as what's going on in the Thorny Chic household, listen, all my kids are alive and well. They're getting ready to go back to school on a full-time basis. I'm not as apprehensive as I used to be. The ER is seeing less and less COVID numbers and things like that. I think it's stupid at this point because it's March and they're about to go back to school on a full-time basis, and school will be out in May. But okay, sarah. But again, everybody is living and breathing in God's air and in living in His grace. So, DK, what's going on?
Yes.
What's going on at the bidet home?
You funny. I have no more bidet stories. I have no more uninvited water into my ass. I don't have no more stories to share with the podcast. I'm not sure what
seriously
episode.
wanted to get one now. Now that you've got one, I'm like, now I want one.
Okay, so I didn't get one, right? And
okay,
my wife
Nikki got one. You're right. Nikki got one, and now I want one.
Well, yeah, I don't know what y'all gonna do. Like, I at least ask for permission. Like, don't violate me that way. But that's for another podcast that I spoke about the bidet story, and we're not gonna, I feel some type of way. Need to file a police report.
on the toilet that you had installed. Help me, Jesus. Help us, Lord. Help us.
I was forced. I didn't want to.
Ain't that the typical way at your house?
I mean, somebody it's the abuser and the abusee. So
right, but you typically are the abusee, ain't you? Blink twice. Blink twice if you are right.
I am. Okay. Somebody save me.
Blink twice if you are right. Well, like I said, listeners, of course, there's me and DK, but of course, we have a guest today, Miss Demetria Moreland. She is a published author, motivational speaker, mentor, and change agent who promotes self-care and healing, as well as an advocate for foster healing, and give a voice to those who have been silenced by all forms of abuse and trauma. As a young girl, Demetria used the tool of writing as a way to escape from and unpack her thoughts and feelings. What began as a method to release pressure navigated into a destined purpose. Extending her love for books beyond writing, Moreland is an avid reader. She also was an honor student graduating from John Marshall High School. She pursued her bachelor's at Strayer University, majoring in criminal justice. She's a native of Oklahoma City by way of Chicago, Illinois. She is the mom of 2 and a grandmother. Shout out to the GGs. And as a creative being, Demetria is also a dancer and choreographer in several forms of dance. She's also the founder and chief executive officer of Me and More, whereby she strives to help others to find the more inside of themselves. Y'all welcome our friend Demetria. Demetria, tell the people hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Is that it?
Hey, how
Right, like how he go yuck yo. He's like, okay. Like
Right.
he's shading.
Yes, he did.
Yo,
the
come in.
shade is like real.
The shade is real. It's real. DK, you can't abuse. Listen, DK, you can abuse me, but you can't abuse the guest. I'm used to it.
Everybody that comes on the Love Is podcast does not guess their family, and it would be doggone wrong for me I can't treat her different than I treat you. Anybody come on,
you absolutely are supposed to. You're supposed to be kind to others. You're not kind to me.
What I say?
Listen. You know what DK say? When you're lying, your voice go up an octave. Do that again.
No. So what you fella realize that although I'm 51, I'm still going through puberty. Right?
No. You can't say that lie without smiling, sir. And I can't even see you.
I am literally still going through puberty. If you listen to me, I get excited. My voice will crack.
The lies you tell.
The lies before
I just don't want to. I don't want to believe a black man for Nathan. I'm not understanding.
Don't perpetuate that lie. Don't perpetuate that lie.
Jesus.
But
help me.
DK always says when somebody lying to me, their voice go up an octave, and I felt, that octave, and clearly you caught it too.
I mean, you know, he got a little pitchy. I mean, you know, he probably sounded a little.
What the hell? Pitchy.
I felt like I need to go find a tuning fork. Like, what is your part? Are you the alto?
I mean, you know, he went.
tenor?
Yeah,
Like,
I was
what is
going to
your
say
key?
he went. He
What
was
is your
tenor,
key?
and then he went to an alto. He didn't go like high alto. He went to, you know.
Listen, we gotta get him a
There's
tuning
levels
fork.
to these things. There's levels to these things.
Listen, take him to the key. Take him to the keyboard and tap that key. This is your key.
I mean, are you in G?
Use a little flat. We need you at a G sharp.
Right.
We need you at a G sharp. We need you at a G sharp. Right.
Lord, I have been called so many things in my lifetime. I've never been called pitchy.
Listen, that's a real laugh. That's a real laugh to be just congratulations. To get him to laugh, boy, you really got to get him. And listen, now he gonna walk around saying to himself all day, she called me pitchy. Pitchy. Where's she gonna take it to the keyboard? I'm telling you, this is your key. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Oh God.
Right.
Like really? It's all right, you know. If Jesus Christ had to down the sins for his people, I too will bear the brunt for this podcast. I too will bear the brunt for this podcast.
Okay. Well,
with my pitchy ass.
Right.
Pitchy ass.
Listen, we're gonna get you a tuning fork. We're gonna get you a tuning fork. We're gonna start making you do. Listen, Demetria, we're gonna have to start doing the vocal runs.
Right. You know, just take them through the warm ups. Take them through the warm ups before you start.
Right.
I am so hurt. I'm so offended. I'm so hurt.
Oh Lord, now he gonna use your word. Oh,
now I got tears in my eyes.
Right. He not offended. He offended.
He's offended.
Yeah,
right. Listen, now he got the spirit of it. Call on him. Call on him. Right. Now he got the spirit of offense. Lord. Of offense. Lord. Here we go. So Demetria, we love, of course, obviously have you on. You're dope off air and on air. So we appreciate you taking the time out for us to, pick your brain and, pick on the pitchy one, I suppose. So what is going on? Catch up the listeners. What's going on in your world right now?
There's a lot going on in my world, honestly. I am actually in the process of getting ready to put out the first book, of my entire life. Jesus. So the book, ultimately, the title of the book is called Mo's Glass House, and it is basically about my journey through my first divorce. And it's a long time coming. I wrote it almost 9 years ago. And so there's a lot that's going on with that in the back. I am a full-time student. I work in a clinic. I am in a medical field. I am a full-time mom of 2 grown adult children, and I am a Gigi of a beautiful baby girl. So there is a lot going on with me and my world.
Listen, shout out to us essential workers and us GGs, because I'm a GG too. My little guy is going to be 3 soon. That's DK's homie. He calls my nephew guy and he calls my grandson he calls my nephew guy my guy, and then he calls my grandson my guy A, and they both, love their uncle DK. They think he's, he's so funny. He's so funny. He's so cool.
Oh,
so they like to send him videos and things that they're doing. Gab's like learning the skateboard tricks, and Landon's 3, so everything's is an adventure because he thinks he's Spider-Man, so he's flying all trying to climb the walls and things like that.
Oh, for sure, man. Those my little dudes. Those are my little dudes on the cool. That's the reason why I do keep carrying around. But don't tell her I said that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's not for the voice or the face.
Right. No.
Constantly on our social media. Speaking of social media, to follow myself, DK, or Demetria, please, by all means, check the show notes. Demetria's book will be coming out sooner than later. She just doesn't know it yet. You know, us as the writing community is going to stay on her to make sure that this, honestly, when we unfold this story for you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about that. You guys are definitely going to be like, ma'am, we heard you on the Love Is podcast and we heard that you got a book coming. So y'all going to help me, help her, help us as the reading community and as the authoring community. We just gonna put DK on it because, you know, he has, you know, nothing else to do on his, you know, filled plate. But, you know, what's one more thing, right, DK?
Right. What's one more? He can take it.
What's one more? What's one more?
Just, you know, one more. I'll put it on the fork. The plate is full. I'll just put it on the fork and then we'll move accordingly. We will definitely move accordingly. But, what the hell? Y'all don't take that the wrong way. Anyway, look, thank you for coming on the show. Y'all so there. It's too early to be this silly. I promise you. Like, we've been laughing a whole lot, you know what I mean, for a good minute, but it's all been, you know, a good
It's all love.
For sure. But before we get into the podcast itself, Demetria, we do ask one thing of our guests. We do ask them to tell us, because since this is the Love Is podcast, we ask our guests to share with us, what does love mean to them? So please enlighten us, young lady.
What love means to me is honesty, truth, commitment, and healthy. Being that I've gone through 2 divorces, I have had to maneuver and manipulate through a whole lot of bullshit in relationships. And I had to learn how to first love myself wholly, and learn what I can't accept, what I will compromise in, and what I'm willing to go for. And it's honesty above anything. I'm not willing to have a relationship that needs to be manipulated. And if the relationship that I'm in now, if we can't talk to each other about the hard things, then I don't think it's worth it. When you have to kind of finagle, or I like to say dance around your words, and not just be 100% and just tell it like it is, then I don't think that that's what love really is. You should be able to talk about any and everything, whether it's just, you know, sitting on the couch, watching TV, hanging out, or it's, you know, holding somebody's hand when they're grieving or sad, or, you know, just being there when someone needs you, even if you don't have any words to say, you know, just being in that person's presence. I feel like that's what love is. It's not always easy, but you have to be willing to fight through it. And if you don't have someone that's willing to get in the ring with you, when shit gets dirty, then
Facts.
You can't, I mean, it's not worth it. You can't fight alone. And that is what I had to learn through the course of my journey. I was willing to take a lot of shit. And I was willing to take a lot of stuff on my own and have a lot of things, carry the weight of a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have been carrying in relationships. And I can't do that anymore. If this is not a 100%, it's not a 50-50 for me. I got to be all in and he's got to be all in. That to me is what love is.
Got you. So like, you know, and I can't tell you what love means to you, right? I can't do that. But you said something right there at the end that caught my attention, right? And this is just what works for me, right? And I understand the premise of being 100. But there are some days, if you're all in, you're all in, right? But there's some days that I'm not going to love you the way that you love me. And you may perceive that as me not being all in, right? Because you have to understand, even Michael Jordan wasn't Michael Jordan some days. He was just Mike, right?
Yeah.
But he was always Michael Jordan in the finals, right? You know what I mean? So a person has to realize, like, okay, I love you, but being as though you may not feel it, I don't want you to think there's a disconnect happening. What's happening is I just may be having a bad day, or I may be having a moment in time in my life, but it doesn't mean that my love isn't there. But I may be in a position to only give, to your 100, I'm only be giving 20%, or I may be giving 30. You know what I mean? I may be giving 15. Oh shit may be really ugly for me, and I may be down for 1%. But I think the flip side to that coin is you guys to love me when I'm in the position, or I'm just capable of loving you in the least. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It's just that we all go through changes. And you have to accept the person, when they're going through their go through. Because we all, like, nobody that's walking this earth doesn't have something going on in their life that's affecting them, within their love life. That's not affecting them at work. That's not affecting them, the relationship with their kids, So I think once, a person has that understanding, it makes it easier. But the trick is it can be for a long period of time, right? I can't be pouring into somebody 100% and they just keep giving me the bare minimum. Like, you done lost your motherfucking mind. Like, no, we're not doing that, right? But I need to know that you're still there, no matter what you're going through.
I think the part that. Oh, go ahead, Demetria.
No, go ahead, Karen.
The thing that I get for both ends is what Demetria said and what you're saying, DK, is that, it's something that we constantly preach here, on the podcast, is having those tough conversations and knowing your negotiables and your non-negotiables. But the theme that I'm getting between the both of you is emotional availability. And I think sometimes we don't know how to read that. Like when you first get in a relationship, of course you all in, it's great because you all in a honeymoon phase and all those kind of things. But as the relationship progresses, you have to be able to read that person. Like, are you really 100% in, like you said, Demetria, when the shit gets hard? Like, am I fighting myself? Am I fighting by myself, or am I fighting with somebody? And if I've got to fight by myself, then I'm fighting the person I'm supposed to love and supposed to love me and everybody else. And at that point, I'm done.
Yeah, well, but you have to make that determination, though, right? My bad, Demetria, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please forgive me, right? But you have to make that. Go ahead.
No, but I think, I agree with that. When you, like, if you're 80%, like if I'm 80% and my dude is 20, then that's fine. I can carry his 20, but I got to know that he's only 20. And that's what I mean by having the hard conversations. Like if it's something that's going on, I should be able to know you enough to be able to pick up the sense that, okay, he going through something and we should be able to talk about that. I shouldn't have to assume, or I shouldn't have to be able to, we should be able to know or have a conversation to say, okay, I ain't got it right now, babe. There's something that's going on. Even if you don't know how to have the conversation, you may not be able to formulate the words, but you should be able to say, I don't know what it is right now, but something is off. I just need you right now to pick up something, and then I got you. That to me is what love is, because I may not be able to formulate the words, and my dude should be able to be like, babe, I got you.
Okay, cool. That's definitely what's up. So you are pinning your first book at the 9 years. We're not going to ask what took you so long, right? Because we're not going to do that. We're not, right? Because I understand, because like one of the toughest jobs, to be honest, like, it's really hard to sit in front of a computer and, actually formulate your thoughts. And then what happens, life happens. And sometimes life will knock you off course, but you show the tenacity to actually see the thing through. So what I want you to tell the listeners right now is, what is your book about?
Okay, so my book actually is a fictional book, but it is my truths weaved into the pages. So let me just go ahead and just put that off on the cuff. So my book is about a young woman who is she's been married for a couple of years. She's a mother, and she is married to a high-powered young man. And there's some things that goes on behind the scenes, which, like most politicians, church people, there's some things that go on in the dark. And this, Mo her name is Monica in the book, but Mo is at a crossroads, and she has to decide on what is the best decision for her and her family. And does she stay? Does she go? What does she do? And I at the time when I actually wrote the book, I did not write it when I actually walked away from my marriage, my first marriage. I wrote it right before I got into my second marriage. And it was basically a healing journey because my ex-husband actually took my son right as we were going through the separation and the divorce process of my first marriage. And I was very angry and very upset and bitter and pissed off. And I basically wanted to, in a nutshell, kill the nigga.
That's how it be. Play with my emotions, play with my heart. Listen.
Yeah. So, that's ultimately what it was, because it literally broke me into pieces. So I had my daughter, and he, and my ex-husband is not my daughter is not biologically my ex-husband's. So I had my daughter and he had my son, and, I wanted to just give up. I wanted to, but I couldn't because I had my daughter. So the best thing that I could do at the time was, and of course in the state of Oklahoma, we still were legally married. And because we were still legally married, it is not considered kidnapping, because he was A, biologically his father, and 2, he was my husband. Nothing I could do.
Wow. So, wow. And it's crazy that you say that. And I want you to stay right there. I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Me and my wife, we play really rough. We play like rough in the house. Like, you can't be in my house to have thin skin. It just doesn't work. So, she was hugging on my daughter, right? And she was like, she said, if we ever break up, she's coming with me. And so I instantly felt a certain type of way. Like, I'm assuming that you're joking, but we all know there's truth in jest, right?
Right.
So
right.
I looked at her like, and don't get me wrong, I cut deep for, my folk, but like she was jokingly talking about, you going to take, like, what? Like, okay, so where you go? There's no place on earth you're going to hide with my child, right? Because, like, anybody that has listened to the podcast time and time again know that my mom's my heart. Like, I would still be on the path of destruction if it wasn't for her coming into my life and forcing me to be a better man and a better father. You know what I mean? But I'm saying all that to say this for your husband, and my wife was joking, right? At least I hope so, right? For all parties involved. But how did you cope with that actually happening to you? Because I know a mother's maternal instinct is the most dominant force known to man, right? And in order for that to happen, so how did you, and I'm glad that you didn't kill a nigga, like you said, let me quote you, because I don't know, dude, right? So how did you not kill? Because, like, my thing is, my wife was joking and I wanted to go ahead and snatch her right then and there. Like, she was at the table when she said it, and I'm looking like, there's a lot of games we play in this house, so we don't even play them type games. Now, if I was a half-ass father, didn't give a fuck about the whereabouts of my child, like, please, you take her and the dog, I'm good, right? But Benz, though, I believe I'm just gonna big me up. I believe I'm the greatest dad since ever in the crazy. Like, that's my heart, and you're not gonna take my heart from me, right? But it was a joke, but it made me pause, because, like, if we ever get to that dark space where me and her is not being one anymore, in her mind, my baby's going with her, and my mind is just like, no, that's not you. Didn't, yeah, okay. Not a problem. So my question to you is, how did you not go through? And I'm glad that you didn't. But what was your mindset that was stopping you from not going through with going extreme in that situation?
Well, first of all, I was 22 years old. So I honestly did not, the day it happened, and this is probably going to, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I got the phone. Well, at the time we had pagers. I was dropping my niece and my nephews off at daycare, and I was taking my daughter to school. And I was on my way to class, and my pager was just blowing up, and I stopped at a payphone, and I called my ex-husband, and I said, I'm like, hello. And he was like, hey, something happened. I had to go home. I have to go. He was like, I got to go home real quick. And by this time he was living in Atlanta. And I was like, okay, is D at the house with my sister? And he was like, yeah, about that. And I was like, about what? And he was like, he's coming with me. I'm like, are you asking me or are you telling me? And he was like, I'm kind of telling you because there's nothing you can do because I'm about to hop on a plane. Click. What? And I don't even remember how I got to my sister's house. But I remember calling the police, and that's when the police told me there was nothing that they can do because there were no legal paper, no documentations on file stating that he was not, he could not take him out of the state lines or anything like that. So it wasn't kidnapping. I got to my sister's house. My sister opened the door, and I literally like collapsed in her arms. And I'm in an emotional wreck. And my sister was like, what is wrong? And I was like, he took him. And she was like, who took who? What are you talking about? And at the time, I don't know how I did not. I mean, I'm 22 years old. I didn't know that he was in Dallas. Like, he wasn't even in the state of Oklahoma when he was leaving, like when he was boarding the plane. So he was already in Dallas getting ready to get on the plane. I found that out, a couple years later. And in my mind, I did not have any fight in me because I was already battling with a whole lot of emotional, he did not abuse me per se. I didn't he wasn't abusive or anything like that, but I had a whole lot of trauma that was surfacing from my dad and all that other kind of stuff. And I did not feel like I had any fight in me. And so I didn't know how to fight. I felt like everybody in his family was already against me because of the church that I was in at the time. And this is no shade to them because the church that I grew up in, who I was married to, the pastor, God rest his soul, that was his father. And I was not we were young ministers. He was, we were youth pastors at the church, and there was a lot of stuff that was going on, we were old Baptists, and, I was one of those, we were supposed to be seen and not heard type of wives, and, all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't know how to fight. And in my mind, I just kept telling myself, that's his father. And I don't think I could raise him to be a man. So that would be the best thing for him. And I kept telling myself that so that I wouldn't go crazy. And plus, I had a daughter to raise.
Well, hats off to you for, making a major life, decision, during a time that, most people could not even fathom being rational. So, you definitely get points for that. And what is the relationship now with, the father of your son, between you and him?
Me and his dad are, we're actually good. I actually talked to him, this week, and I told him, about the podcast, and I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And he was like, what's up? I was like, I'm going on a podcast, and I was like, we're talking about the book because he knows about the book, and he asked about it and he supports it. He definitely knows that there are pieces of our marriage that are in there. And what made me actually forgive him was going through my second divorce. And I knew that in order for me to get through the second divorce, I had to forgive him because I was holding him hostage. And I hated him for 18 years.
Oh, that is a long time to hold that blackness in your heart and in your mind. That is, yeah, because, forgiveness is not so much for the person that wronged you. Forgiveness is more so for the person for you, right? Yeah, like, but that speaks volumes to who you are, as a person. That's real talk, real live, right? Because like I told you, there's no way in God's green earth, like, but that speaks to you, right? And I know it's cliches, but God doesn't give people battles that they can't win. People like to say God doesn't give people battles they can't fight. No, God does not give a person a battle that they can't win, right? So with that being said, that that's a good look. And I'm glad that you and the father of your son have, put that behind y'all. Granted, it took you, another marriage and 18 years later. So where are you at now, in your story? Like, and you made that realization that, okay, that's, my son's father, that he'll be raised better, and my thing is, I tell people is sometimes you got to tell yourself the lie, and you got to believe that lie to get through life.
Yeah.
Right. And you just got to believe that lie. And the quiet is kept. That's all affirmations are. Because if I tell myself that I'm the greatest podcaster known to man, people are like, what? You ain't hear such and such, right? And so, but what happens is, as long as I keep telling myself that and I start to believe it, then one day what happens is I'm going to believe it, and I'll start to manifest that because I'm working towards it and I'm telling myself that, right? And so in your case, you had to tell yourself that, the best place for my son is with, his dad, because, a boy needs, his father, right? Which is true. I'm not, but, speaking from, like I had both parents in my household until my mother and father finally chugged producers at each other, right? But I still had my father in my household. But before I moved out, when I was 17, just turned 17 as a matter of fact, it was just me and my mom. Like, my father was gone, my other brother was gone, so it was just me and her. That was the best time in the household. But so, that time right there, watching my mother maneuver the way that she maneuvered taught me about compassion. And although I'm pretty sure that your husband, your father, your son did a phenomenal job, your son may or may not be lacking compassion from his mom. Cause that's one thing that, kids today, or in any day, I should say, definitely needs, is that, men are great. I'm speaking from a man's perspective, but as far as being compassionate, that understanding, that loving touch, nothing can replace a mother. Nothing.
He actually, he had, my son had an amazing stepmom. He was raised by, she is, hands down, she's still really active in his life. Even though they are no longer together now. She was hands on with him. And so he did have a mother's love and affection. He didn't have mine. Now, granted, it did not affect our relationship. Me and my son are super close. Our relationship, it was trying when he was a kid, only because he didn't understand why. And now he does know, the why. He, after his grandfather passed, well, a little bit before that, he told me he didn't really want to know the details of the how, because he was like, he knows that there's probably more people involved on his dad's side of the family than he would rather like to know. So he would just rather not know those details, because he knows that he would probably look at some people a little differently. And he's grown, and I'm going to choose to respect his wishes. So, but he knows, and I mean, shout out to his stepmom. Me and her, we have a cool relationship now. It was a little hard when they were married, only because of, some things that were said, because of, the complicated situation between he and I back then. But we get along. It took some work. It really did take some work. It took some self-reflecting on my part in order for me to be able to get to the point to where I could forgive him, because I realized that I wasn't perfect in the marriage. He didn't also, he wasn't the only one that was making mistakes. He wasn't the only one that was stepping out. I didn't cheat. Let me make that perfectly clear. But I also wasn't the perfect wife. I was 18 when we got married. I was 22 by the time we got divorced. I didn't have the perfect, we didn't have the perfect role models. We didn't know what marriage looked like. We didn't we had 2 kids at the time. We didn't know what that looked like at that time. So we didn't know what we were doing. And so we made mistakes. We had people in our business and we shouldn't have. There was a whole lot of stuff that was going on back then. And it just was what it was. And so when I got to that point to realize that I brought a whole lot of baggage into that marriage, into that relationship, into that, and I had to own it. I literally had to own it. And I couldn't blame all of that stuff on him. I couldn't. And so once I actually owned my own shit, it was easy.
But that speaks volumes because, like you said, I was young when I got married. I was, you're 18 when you get married. You're 22 when you get divorced. That's at least 4 different versions of you right there, because year by year, you evolve into who you're supposed to be. And then, where you are now as far as relationship standpoints, it's completely different, than when you started, when you first got married. How is your kids' relationship, your daughter and your son, to each other?
Oh, it's actually funny. They are thick as thieves. They are peas in a pod. They talk all the time. She is more a protective, big sister, of course, because she's the oldest. It's funny watching them. She lives here with me in Oklahoma, but she is actually in the process of moving to Atlanta. I'm really glad that my son was where he was and he grew up where he grew up, because my son has never been in jail. He graduated high school with honors. He is getting ready he's on track to graduate college. He has a 4-month-old daughter, and he's an active parent. He's never been he has the best life that, he could have possibly. And I don't know if I could have given him that here in Oklahoma. I don't know if I could have. So,
but that's a life lesson that somebody has to learn is, because I feel like how DK said, we make a lot of jokes of, with our kids and, with our exes, for you and I with our exes and with him, with his wife, about our kids. And it's listen, when it comes to my kids, there's KK and then there's that right. KK, you mess with my kids, especially the grandson of mine, baby, there is a demon in me that ain't never ever gonna be saved or purged. Because listen, when it comes to my kids, I'm completely different. I have a daughter, I have a grandson, I have a niece and a nephew. And so, when it comes to them, I'm super protective. But when you are at the place where you realize as a parent, as a mom, especially, that I can't do this, that I can't give you what you need for life, and have to step back, and not step back, but fall back. And then in the same sense, watch somebody else raise you, especially another woman. There's always a protective part of you, and there's a jealous part of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The ego. Call it what it is. The ego.
My
heart.
My heart, it's oh my God, first time you take my baby, you take my baby, not around the block and around the corner where I can still see. You take them somewhere else. Hold on, sir. And you don't think I'm going to go to the penitentiary? Oh, wait a minute. And then you got a new boo? And she raising my kid? Oh, honey, I can't. Oh, I can tell you what I would have done. That I can tell you. But it's such a life lesson that somebody else, obviously thank God for the podcast. And, when the book comes out, that there are life lessons that we as women have to really, again, the things that we preach on the podcast, you got to have a hard conversation. Sometimes that hard conversation is with you. We would rather see our kids with us. Yes. But how do they suffer because they're with us?
Yeah.
And everybody ain't ready to have that conversation with themselves. Everybody
You
ain't
shitting
willing to
me?
say,
I'm sorry.
listen, everybody ain't
I'm
willing to
shitting
have
me?
that, ain't willing to have that conversation to say, maybe you do need to go with your other parent. Maybe you do need to go with an aunt. Maybe you do
Well, if
need to go
you
with an uncle. Come on, DK, because you gonna keep interrupting. Come on.
you goddamn right, because what you're saying is a buck, right? Because some people are not equipped, and I don't think I think, and if I'm Demetria, if I'm wrong for speaking for you, please correct me, right? So I think you made the decision in your head more so for self-preservation than being honest. Because I don't think you would have been less than a parent. The situation was what it was, and then you knew you'd have made it worse if you'd have acted off your first instinct, right? But of course, we could never tell how your son would have turned out if he would have been with like that's just, it's a guessing game because
Right.
it can never happen, right? But that's what you had to that once again, that's a lie that you had to believe to go on with life, right?
I mean,
And to
yes.
Karen's point, I'm sorry, and to Karen's point, right? Like, okay, some people, and I'm not talking about it on the podcast. Let me get this clear. Some people know that they suck as parents. Like, I'm somebody that's listening to this podcast right now, know that, they should not be nobody's parent. And it's cool. If Big Mom and them watch your kid more than you do, right? If you can't name, your kid's 3 closest friends, right? If you can't pick up on your child's needs and wants without having a conversation, you need to go ahead and either become a better parent or, see about, relinquishing, parental rights. And I'm just keeping it a buck, right? Now, I don't believe that way. I think my wife is a phenomenal mother. Like, I promise you, right? I think she's so good that sometimes my daughter punk her, right? And so I have to put my daughter in the room like, I'm not your mother. You're not going to punk me. Like, if I tell you to jump out the window, you better just start to get to running. I'm not bullshitting, right? But I think that my wife does a great job with her, but I can never say like, okay, you go that way and you're going to be, no. Not a problem. Like, cause she's a girl, you would think I would have difficulties because she's got to go through, womanly things at some point. I'm willing to deal with all of that. And so when our guest made that declaration that like, okay, but it was for the betterment of the whole situation than for her and her ego. And once again, that speaks to you. That speaks like, man, I was a fan of yours beforehand. I'm truly, after learning that piece, truly a fan of yours. But, hats off. You definitely a better person for me. And in hindsight, it was the right thing to do.
I mean, honestly, I feel like so. Listen, KK, I there is another side of me, and literally, my sister has named my other side that nigga D. I like literally. There is another like I mean, like it goes a whole like like that nigga D was about to like. I promise you, like the conversation I had with my ex, and listen, when they listen to this, they're gonna be like, for real. I literally told, cause you right. The jealousy part of me, as far as my son being raised by his stepmom, I literally told him, I was like, bitch, she can't beat me on my best day. Like she walking in my shadow. She can't never give you what I gave you. Like I was like, it was ugly. Like that's how it was bad. And I had to, but in my mind, I literally, you right, DK, it was for self-preservation, but because I was not even confident in my own ability of being a parent, because I was a mother at 16 with my daughter. So I didn't know my parenting skills. So my daughter would used to tell me, because she was with my mom a lot and my sister when I would have to work, she would be like, I don't really know you. Like you were there for birthdays, holidays, and special occasions because I was always at work. So in my brain, I was like, I don't know if I could do 2 by myself. And so like I had to make a decision. It was hard, but he did it. And this is no shade to my ex, and I promise you it's not. But this is what the reality was. He did it to hurt me because I walked away. And he literally, and he doesn't remember this stuff. Like, and it's funny because when he listened to it, he gonna be like, damn, that we doing this? He was like, I mean, because literally, like, this is how toxic the ending of our marriage was. Is he was like, if I would have did what I was supposed to do, which was adopt my daughter, he was like, I'd have took her too. Like, that's how bad he wanted to hurt me. Because and that's how bad we were together. And which speaks volumes of how much the forgiveness on both of our parts has, come. And he forgave me a long time ago. It was me that hated him because he took my son.
Yeah, right.
Rightfully
so.
Like, you took something that, like, you took the very thing that, like, you don't get a pass for that, sir. I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
You don't get that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not his judge, jury, or his executioner. Like, if he done prayed and asked God to forgive him for that, and God has wiped the slate clean for him, then that's on, like, okay, I can't be the one that says, you know what, you gonna go to hell for doing what you did. No, I don't have that right. Because God, just like, we were talking about earlier, I done some dirt, and I done some real foul stuff to some people. Like, I can't sit here and say that I'm, God's gift and princess and this, that, and the other, and everything is a bed of roses on Demetria's end. Nah, you done some fucked up shit too. So I deserve forgiveness just like he did. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I had to do. And anybody else, just like even with my second divorce, I had to forgive the very people that did me wrong too. I mean, it is what it is. I can't walk around saying that, I believe in God and I love the Lord, and I'm sitting here hating people just because they did me wrong. That's not fair.
You can't walk around with a mouthful of scripture and a heart full of hate.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try not to. I ain't going to make no promises. I'm going to try not to.
Lord, no, listen, Jesus.
I'm not going to sit up and lie to these people. Like, I'm going to try not to. There's so much more of your story, but we're not going to get into it because, I think we've given the listeners enough to intrigue them, like, to go out and buy. And we'll, do you have a date when your book is tentatively scheduled to be released?
And tentatively, it is scheduled for June the 12th. For the release. So yes, that is tentatively the release date. I am diligently working for it to be that. So
yeah, well,
and we're gonna diligently hold her to it.
Facts. It's what we gonna do.
DK was gonna try to figure out a way to say it. Listen, I'll just come on in. Listen, we're gonna diligently, not only diligently seek the Lord and his guys, we're gonna diligently hold you to this timeline because the story really is great. I mean, what we're giving the podcast is it's like little snippets here and there. But if you really think of somebody's life in totality, I mean, you have to evolve as a mom, evolve as a woman, evolve from hurt. You got to, learn forgiveness and give forgiveness. Like, these are life lessons that we don't all get, and we get them in so many different parts of life. Like, where you are now, not only somebody maybe right there and struggling, but somebody who is, DK's age or older, or my age and younger, or my age and older, they ain't even got forgiveness down. Like, y'all out here having kids and be irresponsible with your kids. Like, who you leave them with, who you entrust them with. Like, my beautician the other day had asked me, she said, Karen, do your kids have godparents? And I said, yeah. She was like, do people do that anymore? And I was like, I don't know. I said, because our parents had godparents for us and we had kids, they got godparents. And now I said, now that I'm a Gigi, of course he's got godparents. I said, but it was just that's how the village raised us. So we just keep passing it down until I guess somebody decide they ain't gonna do it anymore.
Facts on facts. Usually, I close the show, with my, nugget of the day, whatever,
Love Jones.
Look, I ain't taking my Metamucil. I'm backed up. Leave me alone.
So we understand.
I'm just, it's one of them days. I'm old. Leave me alone. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually let our guest, close the show for us. Because I would do her disservice because she really, like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Look, what? Jesus. I can't stand light skinned people. I promise you I can't.
Listen.
Anyway. What?
He ain't gonna keep it.
Listen.
It's okay.
I'm a little light too.
What? Okay, well that means I can't stand there one of y'all. Look, because you said that I'm supposed to backtrack off my statement. You lost your mind.
Demetria, and Al be sure driving the car. Like I understand who he don't think gonna pull up to DC. Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah, I hear y'all. I promise you that I do.
And plane tickets is on sale.
Y'all, I tell you what.
Hey, I'll fly on Spirit at this point to do the pull up. I'll go for your little $27 fucking dollars and fly on literally the worst airline known to man. I will pay the $27 and take the abuse to pull up.
Look, you light skin.
And Daddy Joe about to send me the money to do it. But keep on.
Anyway, like I said, you light-skinned doggone women, y'all just a special breed of women. I'm gonna leave that there. But I would do this podcast a great disservice if I didn't let our guest close the show, because the story is phenomenal. When her book does drop, y'all got to do yourself a favor and go get that, right? And the jewel that really hit me, because I got up on Demetria because I don't know if she still does it. I think you do. Car Chronicles, right? And I was just listening. I was doing some work at my desk and I sing, and then she was talking. So I kept working, but I was listening. And then I reached out and then we, took it from there. And now she's here. And there's so much more to her story. I don't want her to give all of her story away. But what I do want her to do today is I want her to close the show. I want her to give our listeners at least one actionable thing they can do in order to forgive. Because what's holding a lot of people back is their inability to forgive. Now, and you may not have been wrong to the degree that she was wrong, right? But you're still holding on to hate, resentment, and you're holding on to it, and it's doing nothing to the person that you're hating on. It's doing nothing to the person that you're resenting. It's corrupting and corroding you. So what I would like for my guest today to do is walk a person through, how to forgive, effectively forgive. Please and thank you. See, I was nice. I ain't, right? I was real nice.
You were nice and you was important.
Oh, Jesus. See? Can't stand. Y'all gonna make me quit my own podcast. That's some shit, right? Like I'm just gonna quit my own shit. Slam my shit down. I'm done. I'm not going back no more.
On a technicality, you have your own that you can go abuse your guest by yourself.
I don't abuse nobody. I just
listen. Hey, Demetria, did you You heard the octave again, didn't you?
Yes, Pitchy. And then he goes down.
You got one more goddamn time to call somebody Pitchy. I'm trying to tell you.
I'm gonna be crying about this later on. I bet you he gonna say something to me later on in the week, and I'll be like, "You little Pitchy there, you little Pitchy." he gonna curse me out and hang on me.
Don't worry about it. I promise you, I'm gonna curse her out first for giving me that nickname, right? Lost her damn mind. You try to be nice to people when they want to take shots.
Listen, I promise.
Okay,
what?
So do you want me to close it or not?
You can't even say it.
Or nah. Would you like me to close or not?
Oh no, what? I set you up. I don't know if you watch basketball, right? See, there you go. Can't even focus.
Listen, I'll help you because because Pitchy done got in his feelings.
Right, he's in his feelings.
Right. Don't forget to come and pick up your.
You want some cheese with that wine?
Okay.
Would you like red or white?
Closing out.
I prefer white. I prefer because
he don't like light skin. Don't like light skin. We're gonna drink white wine. Look at him.
I'm so tired of you women. I promise you.
Send him a mimosa.
Where is Becky at when you need her?
Would you like pineapple or orange?
Guava. We gonna make him feel real important. No, mango. Send us a mango.
Thank you. Mango. Yes.
So your instructions are, this is the part of the podcast where typically I close this out and DK does his daily love Jones. So instead of him doing it, you're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're just telling people how to, forgive. Your advice on them how to forgive. Right. That's it. Nothing deep.
So I would just be, my suggestion on forgiveness is first and foremost, stop looking for the answer. Sometimes you're not going to get a apology. You're not going to get the answer or the validation that you're looking for the forgiveness. Sometimes you have to forgive without the apology, the acceptance that we're looking for. It may be hard, and it just is what it is. Sometimes they don't understand why they did it. Sometimes they don't know why they did it. But that could be it. I mean, it could be something that will be deep down that they can never understand. But the first step that I would suggest would be, one, self-reflect, because it could be something that it could not have been, what am I trying to say? It doesn't necessarily have to be something that could have been done on purpose, because people hurt people. And it might not have been intentional, but that doesn't necessarily take the hurt away. But the forgiveness is stopping you. And if you're stuck in that bitterness, that doesn't mean that person is not living on with their life. You have to move forward for you, because if you don't move forward for you, then the person is winning. You not forgiving a person is continuously giving that person power over you and over that situation. So allow yourself to take your own power back. So forgiveness ultimately is that's what it is, I believe. When you actually accept the fact that you're not seeking those type of answers anymore. You're not looking for, a resolution, because sometimes you might not get it. You might not get the resolve that you're looking for. It could be, forgiveness for, someone that's passed on. You're not going to get resolution from them because you can't, because they're no longer here. So, I mean, that would be the first thing that I would suggest. The second thing would just be like, chucking the deuces, just looking at it like, you have to be okay with what happened. You have to learn how to be okay with happening. Yes, it happened. Now what? It doesn't have to control you anymore. So how do you move forward? You move forward by owning it, accepting it, acknowledging it, and learning from it. That would be forgiveness. That's my suggestion.
Why, thank you. It's your girl. It's that Thorny Chick, Karen KK Rose, alongside her Pitchy co-host, the Lovable Asshole, DK Walker, and our guest today, Demetria Moreland. I have enjoyed y'all. Y'all are the dopest listeners. Y'all come in week after week dealing with me and DK and our shenanigans. Whether it's missiles against each other or missiles towards y'all, whichever we serve and y'all take. Listen, you guys are the dopest. We couldn't do this without you. Again, all of our contact information is in the show notes to follow us on social media. Demetria's book that will be tentatively coming out soon, which will be a real thing. Listen, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all are the dopest. Whoa, DK, is that y'all's?
Yeah, of course it's Rocco. Rocco he was almost done. It's always Rocco.
Listen, Rocco does not get enough love. That's why Rocco does not get his voice heard. So he wants to be sure that somebody in your house where he's trying to go outside.
Yeah, well, put his monkey ass up for adoption.
Listen, we got MJ and Rocco. Those are our mascots. And then my guy and my guy A. But listen, I couldn't do this without y'all. DK couldn't do this without y'all. Demetria, we appreciate you again for coming on and spending your morning with us. We love y'all. DK, tell the people bye-bye.
I ain't saying shit. I was labeled as being pitchy. So I ain't saying nothing to them. You mean what?
He just did it again.
You got all the bass, but you found all the bass. But you found all the bass in your voice.
It's all right. She said I was. Matter of fact, that's the name of this podcast, by the way. You know what I mean? He's a bit pitchy. That's the name of this podcast. I promise that's the name of it.
He's in his feelings.
It's called great marketing.
Ever since Jasmine Sullivan has come out with this,
it's called great marketing. I'm gonna teach y'all that one day. I'll stay up. I got you. Stay down, no trip. You know what I mean? You are in the presence of greatness, but long story short, I said that shit with a straight face too. I'm a bad man. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. All jokes aside, your story is phenomenal. We know that's a tentative date, but yeah, I'm going to, stay on her to make that date. You know what I mean? And we're gonna drag that out of her. So it's gonna get done, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna get this phenomenal story out to the masses that they deserve to hear it. They deserve to get all of you And by the grace of God, this will be a launching, it'll become your launching pad for, not only your story, but the things that you got lined up for yourself and whatnot. So thank you so much for coming on today's podcast. It means the world to me.
Thank you guys thank you guys for allowing me to be on. I appreciate it.
You're
even with his
welcome.
pitch.
Oh, Jesus, Lord. See. I can't stand.
I mean, we just gotta get your range together, DK. That's all it is.
I can't stand light-skinned women.
Gotta know your range.
Just talk about you fast-skinned women. I think y'all special.
Don't
take me to the water. Take y'all to the doggone tanning salon. That's what you do. Ooh! Anyway.
I like my color. Thank
you.
And then you got the translucent G. What you singing back? The old gospel hymn?
Listen, somebody need to come get you. I don't know who it may be.
Anyway, I'm about to go up here and feed my face. I'm starving once again.
The Holy Ghost.
Yeah, I got him on speed dial. What you talking about?
Demetria, all hands pointed towards heaven. May the Lord watch between okay, all eyes closed. May the Lord watch between me and thee. Wow, we are absent.
One from another.
One from the other. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. And amen. Hit the button.
Amen.
This episode of the Love Is podcast has ended. But please be sure to subscribe for more great content on sex, entrepreneurship, life, love, and how to get through the BS of it all. And don't forget to rate and leave a review so we can continue to bring more of that thorny chick, Karen KK Rose, and, dare I say, the lovable a-hole, Mr. DK Walker. See you on the next podcast.